What's the harshest thing anyone's ever said to you that's still stuck in your head? 1. Was married to a man who couldn't have kids. I knew before we got married, and I was okay with it. A guy at work found out we couldn't have kids and said, "It's sad that you'll never be a family, just always a couple." I usually don't give a flying fruck what people think of me, but that one hurt. 2. Lots of these, but one stands out. My parents told me as a kid that what I wanted or thought didn't matter, because I didn't bring money into the house. Do you know how much you cost us? Until you start working and bringing money in, your opinion doesn't matter, and we don't give a shit how you feel. Why the hell did you even adopt a kid if that's going to be your freaking attitude? I lost all respect for them that day and never cared what they thought again. When they kicked me out to teach me a lesson, hoping I'd come crawling back humble, I just left and never looked back. I don't even know if they're still alive. 3. You need to shut up. Nobody likes you because of how much you talk. I was 5. My drunk aunt was 31. That shit stuck with me for life, and now I struggle to talk to people unless I have a reason like needing something, and that's its own kind of problem. 4. When I was in my early 20s, I reconnected with my first love. We'd broken up about a year before. We'd been seeing each other for a few months again. We were in bed, still in the afterglow, and I was laying on his chest, almost asleep. That's when he chose to say, "You know, I never want a relationship with you again, right?" This is so fucked up. That feeling has never fully gone away, even though it's been a long time and I've moved on. The coldness in his voice at that moment broke something in me. 5. Don't forget to suck in your stomach. You would be perfect if you just lost 20 pounds. My mom, all through my childhood, I had years and years of disordered eating that followed me into adulthood. I finally set firm boundaries. She's not allowed to comment on my or my kids' bodies in front of us, but she still doesn't get why. Boomers really had some fucked up ideas drilled into them. 6. You're a weird woman with a weird body who is only good for sex. 7. My dad snapped at me for doing something small and dumb that upset him and said, "Stop crying, you won't manipulate me into feeling bad for you." I was 7. I didn't even know it was possible for someone to use crying as manipulation. 8. My kindergarten teacher. I was super shy, like I wouldn't even raise my hand to speak. One day we were playing bingo, and I got a bingo pretty quickly. I said it excitedly, and she snapped back in this mean tone, "Sophie, don't be silly." I still remember the way my face dropped and my lips pulled down. That moment never left me. 9. That I was getting uglier and uglier every day. In the 5th grade. 10. I only asked you out because I felt sorry for you. You didn't seem like you had much of a life. If you're still watching, means you're enjoying the stories. Subscribe so you can look forward to more stories like these. Now on to 11. You only matter when you're useful. That one hit hard, because at the time, it actually felt true. 12. The worst thing came from my dad when I was around 8 or 9. He looked at me and said, "Look at you, you've got rolls of fat on your back," then grabbed them. And when I didn't want to eat lunch after that, he got mad. I love him a lot, and I'm sure he regrets it, but that memory still sticks with me. 13. My husband had terminal stage 4 cancer. He told me it should have been me instead of him. I stayed until he passed, but I didn't feel sad when he was gone. 14. My mom once said if I had finished art school, I could have actually been someone. Thing is, my regular office job was paying all her bills. I'll never forget that. 15. It was only a cat. Can't believe you're crying. 16. No one will love you because you're fat and ugly. Men don't love fat and ugly women. Thanks, Mom. I was like 11 or 12. 17. My youngest kid's father said he wanted me to stay fat so nobody else would want me. I left him not long after that. 18. I had the same math teacher for 3 years straight. She told me, "You'll never be a nurse because you can't do math." I looked right at her and said, "That's because you can't teach it." I've been a nurse for 15 years now. 19. I had 2 close friends back in middle school. One day in the changing room, they looked at me and said, "That's the ugliest body I've ever seen." I'm so glad my body doesn't look like that. Not long after that, I ended up with an eating disorder. 20. Wow, this fits perfectly. He told me, "I've been trying to get rid of you for a long time," after 2 years of gaslighting and telling me he loved me. He also left me with 8 staples in the back of my head. 21. I was bawling my eyes out and got hit with, "See, this is why your dad doesn't talk to you." 22. Back in 6th grade, the girl I had a crush on was talking about her brother and said, "He's even fatter than me." I wasn't even fat, but that stung. Now whenever I remember it, I laugh because I'm still not fat. But she and her husband are. I win, bish. 23. One of the boys at school once told me I should wear bigger jumpers. Because your arse is so big, you should cover it up. Felt like a punch in the stomach. Ever since, I've had issues with food and became super paranoid about what I wear. 24. My dad died in front of me when I was 3. He drowned. When the kids at school found out, they said he killed himself to get away from me. 25. Your nose looks normal except for your nostrils. Your nostrils are unusual and not the right shape. That makes your whole nose look weird. That's what my mom said to me when I asked if my nose looked okay. I was a kid, just scared I'd get teased like another kid at school who was getting bullied about theirs. 26. When he left me, my ex told me that no one could ever love me for more than a short time span. Years later, when he heard I had married, he congratulated himself for, I don't know, healing or repairing me or something like that. It's always projection, I guess. 27. A drunk girl told me I suck and I'd never find love. My wife punched her square on the nose and she passed out. 28. My mom during family therapy at the psych ward where I was hospitalized for anorexia. I'm afraid she's going to die and I'll have to plan a funeral before Christmas. But honestly, I just don't see her pulling herself out of this. I really don't. Thanks, Mom. I got out of it. Without you. 29. You want to see something ugly? That's ugly. Pointing at me. 30. Your trauma isn't that deep. Stop using it as an excuse. From someone who never even asked what I'd been through. 31. My mom once told me she wished she had aborted me. That one hurt. Maybe not as much as when she said she wished I had been the sibling to die, instead of my sister, who passed before I was born of caught death. 32. My mom, many times, said sending you to college would be like pouring money down a rat hole. I'm 67 years old, and still hear it in my head. 33. My sister and I are adopted, and had been in the family since we were very young. When our grandma was dying, we went out to see her in the hospital. The extended family gathered at our house for dinner. Our younger cousin said, "What are they even doing here? It's not like their family." Never, ever forgot that, or how it made us feel. I know he was a kid who repeated what he heard from his parents, but he had known us his entire life. It was so jarring to be reminded that it didn't matter. We would always be different to some of our family. 34. A week after my mom passed away, my business partner told me to get over it, cause the business is suffering. 35. I was 11, in a girl's changing room, and another girl looks at me and says in front of everyone, "You're so ugly that even plastic surgery can't fix you." One nose job later, and those words still replay constantly when I'm feeling insecure about my appearance. 36. My father used to ridicule me for my weight as a child, and any time I would get upset or try to argue, he would justify it by saying, "I'm just worried about you, man. You're going to be as big as a house one day." Ouch. Thanks for the eating disorders, I guess. 37. My father once said to me, "I love you, but I don't like you." I was like 4. 38. Me and my mom used to get into loud arguments a lot. But one fight I'll never forget is when she ended it by yelling that if she and my dad ever got divorced, it would be my fault. I was in middle school, and that completely crushed me. I pretty much went quiet after that. They're still married now, and my relationship with my mom is way better. Funny enough, when I was in college, she actually told me I was the reason they stayed together. I have a lot of mixed feelings about their marriage, but these days they seem fairly happy. It's taken me a long time to realize I'm allowed to be myself, and it doesn't mean people will hate me. 39. I was 11 and upset that my mom, who was recently divorced, was going out again. We got into an argument, and she threw her shoe at me. I dropped into the fetal position, and she got in my face and said, "Fat pig, how does it feel to know your mother doesn't love you?" Then she just left. 40. I'm only your friend because no one else wants to be. She said that after I refused to let her cheat off my test. We obviously weren't friends after that, and now I have people in my life who actually love and support me. I have no clue what happened to her. This was like 15 years ago. 41. I was dating this woman, and I caught her cheating. I told her to pack up and move out. As she was walking out the door, she turned around and told me she hopes I rot in hell and that my whole family dies. 42. I was watching TV with a guy the first was dating, and an ad came on for weight loss stuff. One of the before pictures popped up, and he reached over, pinched my stomach, and said, "Look, it's you." He said it as a joke, but it really hurt, especially since he knew I was self-conscious about my body and was already trying to lose weight. 43. I don't know if I'll ever be ready to marry you. That stuck with me, mostly because later he tried to pretend he never said it. Spoiler, he really was never ready to marry me, or anyone, far as I know. 44. I opened up to a friend about my depression after she kept asking me what was wrong. The second I did, she started pulling away from me, which is exactly what I've always been afraid of. That's why I normally keep it to myself. When I asked her about it, she told me I was a burden. This was someone I had always been there for, through all her problems. I thought she was one of my best friends. Funny thing is, a few months later she reached out to me again because she was going through another breakup. She was clearly shocked when I told her I wanted nothing to do with her. 45. When my wife was pregnant, my narcissistic biological father told me he didn't want anything to do with my daughter. I told him not to worry, he wouldn't have to. Now my daughter is 6, and my bio dad died this April. He never met her. She doesn't even know who he was. As far as she's concerned, my stepdad is her real grandpa. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep bringing you more of these stories. Thanks for sticking around till the end. See you next time, and take care.